Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Play Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus. In the last part we made our way to China and now we're gonna get even further into the Panda King's lair. As soon as we get past this dude.
With our new invisibility technique.
Despite its temple-like facade, this place is really some sort of trading ground. Stay on your toes.
Honestly, you don't really need to stay on your toes. There's only one room in here where the enemies are a real threat, but there's honestly a weird thing that can happen in this stage that we'll see down the line. I know for a fact, I think I miss a bottle here. It is below me right now. You can see just barely on the left of this hill below me, there's like a little lip you can follow to the left. It's in a little cave down there, and I will showcase that once we come back for that after I re-enter the level. There's something specifically about the snow in this game. I brought up Crash last time, but it reminds me specifically of Wrath of Cortex. Which is especially because I don't think I've played that game at this point in, going for a real number, 15 years? 16 years? It was a game my brother owned on the Xbox back when before it got stolen.
Oh dear.
Yeah, that's a whole story. I took it to college. Most of the games were at our home instead of over with him, but the console was gone. Sad too, because he had a copy of MVC2 on Xbox, and that was the most expensive version of that.
They Bentley say like, "Oh, this is a trading ground. Stay on your toes." The tigers, the kung fu tigers, and the monkeys with giant sticks didn't clue that in for you.
Let alone these little monkeys with a lot of nunchucks that I don't even think are active enemies. I think you might be able to attack them directly, but
They don't seem bothered by you.
yeah. So instead, let's just climb this ominous as hell lion soldier furnace and get on up to the platforms up here. Now, we saw some of these platforms earlier in the game, like back in Miss Ruby's Haiti levels. The collision on these can be a bit of a thing sometimes when they're floating from and hither as you're walking on them. For the most part, it won't be a problem, but every now and then it can cause some weirdness. I've missed those 3 bottles more often than I'd like to admit. It's funny. Sometimes finding the bottles in Sly 1 and 2 in specific can be a lot like Crash Bandicoot, where there's one just barely off screen that you're missing. But honestly, the ones I miss the most at times are the ones that are straight in my path and I just am oblivious to them. And I can't tell if that's maybe a thing of just the lighting isn't right, so maybe they're not highlighted correctly, or I'm just way too focused on either Sly's position or my destination.
It's possible. And like we've said in a previous episode too, that sometimes they just straight up blend into the environment.
Yeah. And that might also be why I like this world so much, because so much of it is blue and like an off-white. The green of the bottles really contrasts well. Whoa!
What the heck happened there?
Huh?
Maybe one of the nunchucks swung up and hit it.
Honestly, you joke. There's a chance that it could actually be what it is in the case them doing that animation actually has collision. I've never had that happen before. To that extent, at least. I've had sometimes where it waves a bit back and forth weirdly, but never that violently. No, go back! I see those! You can't hide from me! The annoying thing about this level in specific, and there's a couple levels like this, is that there's several levels where if you're trying to get all the bottles and you miss one earlier on, you do just have to complete the level and re-enter it, as there's usually some untraversable jump backwards like the one we just did. And that can be annoying, but at the same time, since the levels in this game are pretty short on the macro scale, it's not like it's a big loss of time.
Nah, yeah, it's like slightly annoying, but it could be a lot worse.
And that's something they keep in mind with Sly 2 and 4 in specific with the bottles as well, where they're never in places that are hard to get back to. most of them are just out in the open. It's just more a factor of, okay, I see the one over there in the distance. How do I get to it?
Or like, or you're right near it and it's doing that tink, 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 and you're like, where the hell is it?
Usually just behind a corner.
Yep.
Tucked in a little nest. I'm not looking forward to recording Slide 2 for the bottles in specific in that. Specifically, mostly just for the one Contessa stage and the second Rajan chapter.
Yep.
Ugh.
Yep.
Thank God I can ignore gravity now, and that doesn't actually damage me. The Koopa clan's magical. Honestly, what this game maybe could have done with it could have been interesting, and maybe a remake could do something like this, is like master level versions. Where, like, maybe in post-game, especially if you've gotten all of the upgrades, you get remixed levels that are like 3-4 times more difficult and strict, but if you use your abilities right, it's like a very fun variation of them.
That'd be interesting, but might be a bit hard to balance.
Yeah, that's the big threat there. On top of the fact of, with some of these levels where their mechanics are just where a level in this aesthetic, what could you do to really intensify that besides maybe make the enemies more of a threat?
Mm-hmm.
But I guess if they do things where like maybe they incorporate in a remake some Sly 2 Beyond mechanics, they could do things with that. Stickiest Baboonium lives for World Cup soccer. I meant to show that off earlier in the LP, but that's the upgrade we got back in Haiti that showcases an enemy's name and hobby. Yeah, right here. Dick move. But at least with the clue locating thing on the radar, especially if you get that in a different stage, like it's not impossible to find.
Mm-hmm.
Lucky for you, I versed in chaos theory. Otherwise, this code would have been unsolvable. Input 932. You found the blueprints for the Panda King's lair. I'll upload the data straight into your Binocucom.
Speaking of which... yeah, so I guess if you went to any other level first, finding those bottles wouldn't be too bad. That's one of the few times we really get to showcase, yeah, when you get a key and come back into a level, it's just replaced with a portal. Same ones you used to enter the stage, really. Alright, is that every key in this sector? I actually don't remember. No, I don't think we've been over here yet. Oh, I just remember what level this is. King of the Hill. Dung 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 dung.
Murray's all fired up to make the run for the key. While on the blasting station, use the left analog stick to aim and the square button to fire.
Right on. I'll keep him covered.
Time for another turret section stage with Murray. Again, if you shoot him, you will kill him, and you need to really keep your eyes out for enemies coming out of any given corner to attack him. And this one gets particularly devious towards the end with where it'll place guards.
Oh, so that's where the nunchuck monkeys went.
I won't lie. I made the joke a second ago. I was very tempted in editing to just have a very low volume loop of the King of the Hill theme going here. But I erred on the safe, the side of, I don't want to potentially enact the wrath of the copyright gods. Because that's a Fox show, which means that's Disney now, and I ain't messing with them. God knows when I get to Kingdom Hearts, I'm going to be fighting enough for my life. The good thing about these stages that I think we talked about back during like Mesa City is that in the case you had a lucky charm for whatever reason, Murray also gets it here, so you can have him survive a couple of shots, and in the more surprising dick move moments that can come in handy, but it can still be just kind of rude.
I didn't know that the lucky charms can be carried over to Murray. That's actually pretty cool.
I think there also might be some you can just find by shooting specific things in the levels. I think. Yep, right here, there's some rude placements of enemies, because they're up on the... Oh, there's that guy for one thing. But now there's some, I think, up on the roof above him? Oh, no, it's not. You can tell it's been a while since I recorded this footage. I actually don't remember the exact order of operations at the end of this level. Oh, and I think I shot him there. Damn it. Sorry, Murray. The size of the reticle can definitely be a little overwhelming, but as long as you're directly in, like, the little pip in the center, you're fine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is a last-second game of reactions, because these particular guards can hit him from a distance, and you need to be careful. War of Attrition is a way to potentially describe these stages, because if you just game over on them over and over again, you will probably eventually memorize where all the enemies are. But I don't think that really belongs in this game with how the rest of it's designed.
Mm-hmm.
It's just very frustrating compared to everything else. As much as I do love his stage clear theme. Dane Bramage.
Good job, Murray.
Alright, that's every key in this sector, so let's go throw them into the locks and move on to the next half of the world. By the way, every time you see the Bentley thing on the bottom left, that's, I think you can re-listen to old dialogues from him, in the case you are trying to remember what you're trying to do at that point in the game. Oh, gotta hit the rockets. Kaboom! Alright, so now we access the latter half of the world, and there's some cool levels here.
I've calculated the trajectory of these rockets, and I'm 99% sure you'll be able to ride them all the way to the top of that statue before they explode.
What about that other 1%?
Well, in that case, Sly, you will be blown to bits. But the experience will no doubt be spectacular.
Nice.
Now, to unlock these rockets, you're going to need all 7 of the Panda King's treasure keys.
Right on. I'll steal them in no time.
You know what? Character development for Bentley. The start of the game, he was like, no, don't shoot yourself out of the cannon. Now he's like, ride the explosives, Sly.
It's only 1%.
Never tell me the odds. Alright, so the first level we're going for over here is actually a revisit to a mechanic we last saw in Haiti. Time for the gunship levels. In some regards, these can almost be considered auto-scrollers because of how they work. But at the same time, you at least have enough impact on your actual pace that it's very hard to get overwhelmed in them unless you're just straight bum-rushing everything. Also, I just realized you can actually see the Panda King statue from the hub in the background there. Huh. I think the game actually does that in most of its levels now that I think about it, as long as they're like open air. You can like see a lot of the landmarks. Oh, conveyor belts. That's your mechanic. That's right. God, hearing him over that is rough. Curse you, Panda King. Why'd you have to talk when I have a loud machine gun going? If I want to hear any jokes you might have, I really can't. Honestly, it is funny, because behind the scenes wise, audio balancing for this game has been a little weird, because the game is relatively quiet with its dialogue compared to a lot of other games I've done LPs of. But if you take a look at the audio files, and this is obviously just for dub in this case, you can see this level is distinctly lower than the rest of the video just because of how loud the firing of the cannon is. I don't think I need to destroy all these, but I think I do because I want the money. In the game where money only gives you extra lives and or lucky charms.
Hand the money over.
In Slide 2 and 3 and 4, this would be much more useful because of the upgrades you can buy with the actual coin.
Very true. And there you have to buy for 3 characters, not just 1.
3+ in some of them even. In that regard, like that's I think one of the best things they do for the sequels is they give money more of a purpose besides just being like Mario coins. Like it means that like the stealthing actually has more of a purpose, as does the thief part of the character. So it's not just set dressing like it kind of is here ultimately. Which not to say the set dressing like that can be bad. I think it can work in a lot of cases, but having played 2 through 4. It's just weird to come back to it.
Yeah.
Non-zero chance if this ever gets a remake that this type of stage is just going to be an auto-scroller, and I kind of dread that.
Oh.
Give me the key. Give me the key! That icicle has way too much health.
I'm surprised Sly couldn't just climb up it with the cane.
He really likes that hover bike.
Apparently, considering there's multiple levels with that one.
Time for my own jetpack joyride. Sly, that's not even a jetpack. Shut up, Bentley. Alright, time for my favorite level in the area. Time for Duel by the Dragon. I haven't had a level like this since Mesa City, actually, because it's time for another Carmelita chase. Although this level also has something a little bit interesting because of how we've gone through the levels, but I'll showcase that once we actually get to the vault in this particular stage. Whee!
Freeze, raccoon!
How can I freeze when my heart warms at the very sight of you?
Shut up, ringtail. I don't know what you're doing here in China, but I'm sure it can't be good for whoever owns this place.
You must only have eyes for me if you're too blind to see what's going on around here.
All I see is a pathetic thief who's escaped justice for far too long.
I'm proud to be a thief, especially when I'm stealing from a vicious extortionist like the Panda King. Open your eyes, detective. These quaint temples are a front for an illegal explosives factory.
Don't try to confuse the issue. You criminals are all the same, and none of you can escape justice.
I mean, we did that literally back in Mesa City, but, sure. In fact, we're gonna escape justice again. She is... You first.
Carmelita, like, at this point, don't you realize there's a pattern going on?
Yeah. This is probably the harshest she is on Sly throughout the games. Because, like, she's willing to hear him out from time to time in the sequels. But I guess it's a factor of first game and they didn't have all the character history there yet.
Mm-hmm.
She is a little more deadly in this stage than the one back in Mesa City, and the main reasons for that are twofold. For one thing, the level design's a little more cramped, so she has more time to just shoot you outright. And since I died, that pillar got destroyed, I gotta go back into this level for those 2 clues. Great. But also, I swear she's closer to the screen to begin with, so her shots will reach you more quickly, and you really need to watch out for that. Thankfully, though, she doesn't lead her shots. She'll only ever shoot for directly where you are. You know, actually, in retrospect, I probably could have actually done this level in one trip if I had just jumped to the left off of that gate, rather than just going straight across it. Hindsight's 20/20.
Yep. Oh well, at least it's like right at the beginning of the stage.
Yeah, plus we don't have to worry about it, because post-commentary, I can just snap my fingers and then suddenly we're in a distant land. I would do a joke like that right now, but that's editing I don't want to do.
Yeah, Carmelita's one of those characters, it's like, she's a fun character, and I love her dynamic with Sly, and we probably talked about this a little bit already, but sometimes, like, yeah, you're right, she's more harsh on Sly here, but then they kind of flip-flop on it, like in later games too, where she's like willing to hear him out, but then goes, no, he's a criminal, I can't listen to him.
Let's see if we can bullshit a reason. The constant changing of her voice actresses highlights her internal struggle with what true justice is. And whenever she flip-flops, it's one of the prior voices trying to take back over. Did I do a good? Whew, that was a close shot.
But it's like, I mean, I get it, because, like, Sly still he's still stealing shit from everybody, but
honestly, their dynamic at times reminds me of Lupin and Zenigata, but like flirtatious at the same time. I say that ignoring some of the clear signs of flirting between him and Zenigata to begin with.
I was about to say, like, they weren't flirtatious at times.
More so. Alright, once we get to these icicles, we're pretty much at the end of the level, and she can destroy the platforms here, which means you could have a pretty quick shot into death, but as long as you're keeping the pace up good, you should be fine.
I've probably said it before, but they're probably the reason I love thief and cop characters.
Watch your back, Cooper. When you least expect it, I'll be there.
Yeah, it is a good dynamic. Also, I just realized the kind of like duality thing there, where the last time we did these levels, she fell into the sky on the balloon, and now she's stuck here on the ground.
Kinda looks like she went into the snow.
She's fine.
I'm sure she
Foxes
is.
can dive into the snow for prey. Right?
Well, you're right.
Okay. We're not done in that level yet. We gotta go back in to get those last few clues. But this level, because of how I've handled the order of stages, is a little bit interesting in that what's in the safe is a little more unique than in prior stages. Let's go and find out what Bentley's got to say really quick.
Unfortunately, this vault code appears to have been written in owl dialect. I won't be able to crack the code until we meet and defeat the bird who created it.
So, whichever number of safe this is for us, we cannot open it until we have beaten the game. It is a post-game exclusive vault. Thankfully, as long as you've gotten the clues, your progress is saved. A little annoying, but I appreciate the attempt to give a little reward for beating the game. But with that, we're going to need to end this off here. Thank you guys for watching, and in part 10, we're taking the fight to the Panda King. See you guys then.
Bye-bye.